It's us talking about the same talking points about how Wes Anderson has made the same movie for the last decade, and it's not a very good one. Connor. Obi.
Cat fight.
Obi. It's okay, buddy. You're okay.
Obi, let's not attack Akuma.
Obi, come here. Connor, what is the plot of the Phoenician Scheme?
Benicio del Toro is a guy in a Wes Anderson movie who invites his nun daughter to take care of his estate. And then special guest star Michael Cera shows up, and then special guest star Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston show up, and then special guest star Riz Ahmed shows up, and then special guest star that dude from the Travel Food Network show that my mom really liked showed up.
Richard A. That's a pretty good show, though.
It is a pretty good show. Travel Man shows up, and then special guest star Scarlett Johansson shows up, and then special guest star Bill Murray, and then special guest star Benedict Cabbage Patch, and then special guest star. There's gotta be more.
Oh, you're forgetting the Green Goblin himself.
Special guest star Willem Dafoe briefly shows up because it's an art house movie, so Willem Dafoe is obligated by his parole officer to appear in the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a Wes Anderson movie, but again. So Aiden, what did you think of? Oh boy, oops, another Wes Anderson movie.
The Phoenician Scheme.
Wait, Aiden, if we don't say the title, we can just reuse this video in 6 months when the next Netflix Wes Anderson drops.
Well, when the next one comes out, we can just wait. I'll say the title, but I'll cover my mouth.
Oh yeah, cover your mouth when you say any stars, because they'll probably sub out one or two. Sometimes it'll line up. We'll be like, then Benicio del Toro sat in a colorful pastel room.
Owen Wilson.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, this is significantly better than the other movies he's released in the past decade. By nature of having a plot. Not a very good or particular... Well, I don't know. I thought it was kind of interesting. I mean, there's a story about Benicio del Toro opening up as a person and befriending his daughter, and at the start of the movie he's all alone, and at the end he has a big group of his weird gang of celebrity cameos. There's some kind of plot and through line in this movie that makes it a lot more appealing than movies like Asteroid City, which was a collection of Wes Anderson scenes with loose associations to each other.
Yeah. That
were mostly just, here's a quirky thing with Scarlett Johansson and or Tom Hanks and or the other people who were in that movie, Owen Wilson or whoever the fuck. And it's better than whatever. I haven't seen the Netflix movies, but I saw a clip of one on YouTube Shorts, because I see a lot of clips of Netflix movies on YouTube Shorts, like this one where all the self-driving cars in the world start killing each people, like it's a like the bad Stephen King movie.
Wow.
But then I also saw a clip of one of the Netflix Wes Anderson movies, and I thought it was a parody at first, but it was an actual thing. And the French Dispatch was just 3 mini non-movies. Yeah, it almost works as a narrative, and I sometimes found it charming and funny because it's a Wes Anderson movie, and sometimes the jokes would land, and a lot of times I would say, yep, that's a Wes Anderson scene. I like the main lead woman who plays the nun daughter. She's quite good at being the Wes Anderson lead woman, and she's been in like 3 other movies, so that's kind of impressive, I guess.
She's not actually a celebrity.
She's the only person who's not a celebrity.
That is either obligated to be in a Wes Anderson movie because they've been in multiple, or said, knocked it off their acting bucket list to show up in a Wes Anderson movie. The two types of Wes Anderson actors.
I think every single cameo was an eye roller. Bill Murray being there as God is,
Hobie's territory.
I don't know what to say about it. Hobie. No. That was a very dramatic reaction to me lightly tapping you. Okay. Willem Dafoe, he'll be in any art house movie. You give him an art house movie script, he'll say, I'll be there. Give me a 6-pack of beers and a sandwich and I'll be there. And all the rest, Scarlett Johansson's there doing some shticky ass accent. Michael Cera's in his first Wes Anderson movie somehow, even though he was born to be in these movies.
Oh yeah.
And he's doing a shticky ass accent for like 80% of the movie. And then he just stops at some point. I don't know, it's Wes Anderson again. It's, I would say, a marked improvement over the last several, but also Wes Anderson's style has become so repetitive and essentially like self-parodic, where like if someone makes a Wes Anderson parody, it's hard to discern from actual Wes Anderson because he's just so deep into doing the same thing over and over again that you can
AI can literally make these movies now. People were making...
realistically,
2 years ago, people were making, like, what if this was a Wes Anderson movie, and then you just type, like, Batman but Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
There you go. It's done. It's out the machine.
Especially
with the static wide angles, AI could
essentially
make the fuck out of this movie.
At this point, anytime there was a scene, you could kind of guess what was going to happen in it. Because Wes Anderson has become so predictable in his style. And sometimes there'd be little gags that threw you off a little. And for some reason, Benedict Cabbage Patch is the villain. And he just,
There's a fight scene at the end between Benedict Cabbage Patch and Benicio del Toro. And they're like, it seemed like something that like high schoolers would make, where they're like, I can't do good choreography, so we'll just make a farce out of it. And I'm not saying we have to have an action scene, but like the prolonged scene of them pathetically pretending to fight, but that's the joke.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, come on. Just don't do a fight scene, or just like have them throw the little acid tablet or whatever and call it good. Like, we don't need the
Wes
whole
Anderson
fucking
to make a real movie again.
It's never gonna happen.
He's in closer,
too deep and he's scared to deviate.
This is closer to a vague approximation to a real movie than he's been doing, but
I disagree.
It's hard to forget that, I guess Isle of Dogs is probably his last real movie where it's like a structured story with a plot and a genre and storytelling, characters that aren't just Wes Anderson props. Moonrise Kingdom, Rushmore, and Bottle Rocket, those are all like real movies that just have a quirky Wes Anderson twist to them, and now he just makes slightly worse versions of the Grand Budapest Hotel every year, which was novel when it came out, but isn't novel 9, 10, however many movies that have also been the Grand Budapest Hotel later.
Pretty much.
Connor, would you recommend The Phoenician Scheme? I'm sorry, The Phoenician Scheme. Just in case.
I'm sure you meant, what are my thoughts on it?
Yes.
And I'll tell you my thoughts on it. Back in like 2018, I was listening to a podcast and they said Wes Anderson is good, but he just makes the same movie over and over again. And I was like, yeah, they're all quirky, but like, I think we were coming off of Isle of Dogs. Before that was Grand Budapest, and at that time he was a little more sporadic, slightly. He's always been pretty consistently making shit, but he's really sped up in the last couple years as he's been able to get his thing down to a science of no plot, just Wes Anderson shots. But at the time I didn't agree, and I was like, I really like Wes Anderson, you know, he makes consistently good movies. And now...
He makes consistently
they're right,
movies
they
now.
were right. He's gotten so much fucking worse. And it's not like he's getting worse at directing, but kind of. It's like stagnant, you know? Like some people in their career go through like phases. And the thing is, like Wes Anderson has gotten very, very, very stagnant. Where it's just, I'm going to make the same thing again. And in any type of art, you want to see progression. And doing the same thing over and over again, it gets stale. Another comparison is like Marvel movies, where for a while it was kind of nice being like, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to get, and some are slightly better and some are slightly worse, but here's the baseline. And nowadays I'm just so tired of the format that unless they do something really original, like Fantastic Four, for example, I don't know, it could be very terrible. But Fantastic Four, there's no way it's going to be better than good, you know? Okay at best. Because at the best case scenario with like Fantastic Four is it's the formula. And the worst case scenario is it fucking sucks. And Wes Anderson is just like, similar to Marvel, it's like the fucking art house. And in the art house too, I think something you kind of got to do when you're going to make these movies that are like Searchlight, A24. There's people that rip off, like in the art house sphere, that rip off other art house people, but leading voices like Wes Anderson used to be, and you know, you look at like Ari Aster and them. It's like you have some sort of progression throughout your films. You know, you'll make one movie, and then your next movie will have some DNA and maintain the feel, but it'll be a radically different story with different cinematography. Just to, you know, the problem is he's just doing the exact same fucking thing.
Would you say Wes Anderson is the art house Peyton Reed? You know?
Oh.
He makes the same movie over and over.
Well, that's the thing, too.
Sometimes they're kind of good, sometimes they're very forgettable,
this
and sometimes they're
style
awful.
Was a daring swing when he did it for Grand Budapest. And universally, everyone said, I like this, and it's comfy and easy to watch. And then they said, we still like this, and we still like this, and we still like this. And the problem is the audience is like, even the people around us, some old guy next to us is like, Wes Anderson so got it. He does this.
That's not what he was saying it at all.
Oh, that's what I thought I was hearing.
No, he looked over at the other guy and he said, I thought Wes Anderson was supposed to be acclaimed. I've seen some of his movies, but this was just a collection of random nonsense. And I was like, so true, guy. He was pissed, dude.
Oh.
He was seething about it. He was mad.
Well, yeah.
He was like, what? This movie sucked. I don't
mean,
understand.
that's the thing.
I need someone
like,
to tell me what was supposed to be going on.
Like, you got... I mean, the old guy was right, though, because you got... You kind of are losing the plot. Like, for a long time, his early movies were all pretty unique. Life Aquatic was like the prototype for this movie. But then he kind of walked away from that and did other stuff. And he came back and refined it for Grand Budapest. And then people said, we'll keep paying you to make this exact same movie over and over again. And that's what he did. And it's like, I just want something different. I know, I'm not even really talking about this movie. I have fucking virtually nothing to say. It's... The cameos show up like a Marvel movie, and it's the same shit like a Marvel movie, and there's all the famous stars like a Marvel movie, and they do the same shit that they did in the last 20 movies like a Marvel movie. Like, I don't understand what there is to like, and then I thought it was so annoying. Like, because every actor was like, what if we disguise the actor, you know, put so much makeup on Bryan Cranston, you can barely tell it's Bryan Cranston. But then he'll do the Bryan Cranston voice, and then he's like quirky and really good at basketball. And like Benedict Cabbage Patch and Benicio Del Toro get in a 15-minute fight that looks like it was shot by a fucking 15-year-old making a Star Wars fan film in his backyard. And it's like, I don't know. These are a lot of the gags are shit I would have made up when I was like 10. Then you have like these overarching themes of like religion bad, or maybe religion don't exist, or maybe religion good, or maybe something about religion. Who cares? Something about religion is definitely something, ain't it? That's the conclusion this movie draws on that front. And everybody's quirky and sarcastic and nihilistic. It reminds me of my days living in a hipster neighborhood when I lived in Uptown, Minneapolis. Yeah. Very arty district. And what I learned is that everybody's just like...
The infamous Uptown penny farthing man who swerves around between the lanes and bikes up the wrong side of the road to disrupt traffic. So
well, you also don't mention he's got the fucking 6 foot tall bike wheel.
Yeah, that's what a penny farthing is.
Well, you got to explain it to people.
Yeah, he rode around on a 7 foot tall bike and had a vest covered in like subreddit pins and
the fucking Dr. Squatch curl mustache.
Yeah, top
pins
hat
everywhere, IPA beers and.
Just swerving through traffic, and
that's what it felt like. And it's like, I loved Wes Anderson, and I was like, I got most of his early movies on Criterion, and it's like so many like 4 and 5 star movies because he's a good director. He was a good director. It's not like this is the only formula he found that worked. He made plenty of movies that were good, and then he either got lazy, complacent, or just lost all sense of creativity. And just makes the same movie over and over again. And I don't exactly know. I think it's a little mix of everything. And it's what people pay for.
Fantastic Mr. Fox and Isle of Dogs are good movies that actually have stories, and they're like...
Bottle Rocket's a good movie.
Elaborate.
Moonrise Kingdom.
But the problem is Isle of Dogs didn't make nearly as much money as Grand Budapest Hotel Repackage 4.
Yeah. No, that's true. I don't... It's just like... It seems like it's an easy way to get moderate critical acclaim, but no award acclaim, because no one's giving you the fucking medal for making the movie for the fucking 15th time. People are willing to say that it was once again a Wes Anderson movie, and just give it the good review and then move on and never watch it again. The other thing I think is, like, I have a nearly, like, encyclopedia. I'm pretty sure I'm autistic. At least a little bit. Because, like, you ask me about, like, movies or video games or comics or just about anything that people with autism like. Pokemon. And I'll probably have a lot of facts for you. Oh, yeah. And I have seen a lot of these movies. I think I own every Wes Anderson movie up to this one, except for the Netflix movies I somehow didn't even know existed. But it's okay. I just don't count anything that exists on Netflix as existing. Like, that's just not real.
I found out about him like 3
Netflix
weeks ago.
Netflix is fake.
Apparently he's had like...
I would rather watch a movie made entirely by AI than by Netflix. I just like...
He had like a 4-year deal and made like 6 movies for Netflix in that time while everything else was going on. And
I feel like that's kind of the thing, is Netflix will be like, we'll pay you $100 million, but you gotta make us 10 movies in the next 3 years. Because that's what they did to Adam Sandler too, where he was dropping a movie a season on fucking... You know, there was the summer, fall, winter, spring, you know, quarterly fucking... The shareholders were looking at the quarterly Adam Sandler statistics for like 5 years there.
Film career. No, I need his filmography. Okay, he only made 1 Netflix movie, but I think he made like 3 Netflix shorts or some shit.
Oh.
And his Netflix movie was also an anthology, so...
Never heard of it. Never knew that was happening, and if I heard it, I've forgotten. But I kept calling Asteroid City... My point is, I kept calling Asteroid City Astro City, and I had seen that movie 3 times. And that's probably the most anybody's ever watched that movie. Wes Anderson probably watched it once, or he just watched it through on the dailies, you know? He was watching it as it was edited. Then he's like, I don't watch my own movie. I don't want to see that. It's too repetitive, and, you know. I think my overall point is it's starting to all blend together too much. I will 150% forget this movie. I'll remember that I saw another Wes Anderson movie, I'll say the one with Benicio del Toro in the bathtub. And then everyone
Isn't he
will
also
go...
in the bathtub in the fucking French Dispatch? Pretty sure there's also a bathtub scene with him in the French Dispatch.
Okay, fair enough. Whatever. But I'm talking about the post. I'm talking solely about the poster here. You know, it's like, it's so just fucking, it's merged. It's melding together.
It's the Michael Cera one.
It's like, even like, okay, here's my here's my Hail Mary, my final point. If we compare Wes Anderson's last 5 movies to the 5 Michael Bay Transformers movies, you can see more cinematic progression from Michael Bay making 5 movies in the Transformers franchise over Wes Anderson's 5 art house movies. And I'll
those
stand
Transformers
by that.
movies.
There was the horny one. The one without a script. The one where Optimus Prime's a psycho.
The racist one.
Oh yeah, without it, when there's no scripts, just lean on the racism. Psycho Optimus Prime.
That's all the first.
The one with the dinosaurs where they throw the football at the guy. Mark Wahlberg's unhinged Furious 7 Core one. And the one where they just brought back Stanley Tucci again.
As a different
character. And then they're like the King Arthur's court.
He was a wizard.
Yeah, but he was killed.
And Mark Wahlberg was a King Arthur.
And Wes Anderson's last 5 movies were wide shot of pastel colors with very famous person, and then very famous cameo walks in and says something quirky.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm done, because I'm sure we'll go back and have this same conversation in a couple years. And the thing is, for a while, like with Asteroid City and French Dispatch, I was like, you know, they just come out every couple years. Like, I'm fine, whatever. I'll watch the new Wes Anderson movie every couple years, because even if it's the same thing, you know? Even if it's the same thing, well, I like the same thing. Well, I'm tired of the same thing. Make something fucking different.
The French Dispatch was 2021, Asteroid City was 2023, the Netflix one was last year, and the Phoenician Scheme is this year. And I'm gonna say it, I think we're gonna get another one next year at this rate.
Yeah, law of averages say that more than likely there will be a 2026. Worst case scenario, 2027, but who knows? If he's only got one movie done with Netflix, that does not sound like a Netflix deal. Wes Anderson became $100 millionaire recently, and he's got to pay the piper and make some Netflix Grand Budapest ripoffs. The nice thing, though, is I won't get totally Wes Anderson out off of exclusively Netflix movies, because I simply won't watch the Netflix ones like everything else that comes out of Netflix. Maybe if Netflix like released any of their movies in theaters to try to like legitimize it. I hope they do the new fucking Knives Out.
Yeah, we're gonna have to pirate that.
Maybe after Star Wars I'll review the Knives Out trilogy.
And by pirate I of course mean...
Oh no, I'm pirating it. Wait, we're not allowed to say that. Well, you said not at the same. I stuttered.
We would never download anything illegally. We participate in actual piracy.
Yeah, like Somali pirates and whatnot.
Yeah, that.
That's cultural outreach.
Yeah, it's like aid.
So, Aiden, would you recommend the Phoenician Scheme?
No. Did I recommend Asteroid City? I feel like I didn't. I know I recommended the French Dispatch.
I don't think I've missed... I think I've recommended all the Wes Anderson movies to this point.
I feel like I might have recommended Asteroid City, but I take back my recommendation, Asteroid City, and I do not recommend this one. Connor, would you recommend the Phoenician Scheme?
I recommend you watch the Grand Budapest. I think if you're a Wes Anderson fan and you keep falling for it, you know, you want to see an artist with total horizontal progression go at it again and do the same thing again. I think you'll get your money's worth. I'm not, you know...
He did it again?
He did it again. It's the same movie. I don't think I would be so annoyed with it if I wasn't like, I'm just done. with this style, and like me just thirsting to like it was like being dehydrated in the Sahara Desert, and like one new concept could come and be that sip of water I needed to keep fighting and survive. But by the end, I realized that no new concepts were going to come, and that it was just the same movie again.
Yeah, but you got to see Bryan Cranston play basketball for 2 minutes with Tom Hanks.
That's truly an innovative scene. So I changed my mind. No, I'm done with these movies. I'm gonna keep watching them, but I think until Wes Anderson actually makes something different, I don't think I'm gonna recommend them. I'm gonna say he did a good job making the same movie he's made the last 10 years, and that I watched out of obligation as a fan. But, and also, like, I feel like people will be like, this one's different, I promise you. And I'll sit down, it's not different. Make a real fucking movie, dude. I'm sorry, this ain't real movies anymore. Was this movie made by AI? Was it all fake? You know, I saw those Google Evo 3 AIs. Did Wes Anderson do the free trial week, and then maybe like a 1 month subscription at $250, create this movie and call it a day? I don't know. Who knows? That's the other thing too, is like AI will be making these movies in about 3 months, and probably better and more convincing.
Especially when part of your style is large, wide shots of people looking at each other.
You know who
on
I'm amazed has
cartoony pastel set and talking.
I'm shocked Tom Holland
voice.
with a little fake French mustache hasn't been in this yet.
I'm just shocked. Did that with Kylie Jenner's boyfriend.
Yeah,
3 years ago.
No, I know, but Tom Holland also has to do the little French cartoony mustache because it looks ridiculous. Because that guy still looks like he's just like such a manlet.
The problem is Tom.
I don't have anything against Tom Holland.
Retired.
He seems like a nice guy.
Tom Holland's functionally retired. He made the Spider-Man movies.
He kept trying, and everybody hated him.
He made the bad movie with Daisy Ridley, and everyone was like, "This guy fucking sucks." Actually, he's just good at being a tiny little twink for Spider-Man.
He did Uncharted.
He did Uncharted, and everyone was like, "This sucks." Actually.
Well, then the problem is he kept getting.
Like, well, I'm retiring basically, and I might do a Spider-Man maybe, but probably not.
They were doing the serious roles, and he's got a Spider-Man movie coming up, Spider-Man 4 coming between
6 years since the last one.
Yeah, no, I think he's got to get back on the horse because he tried to do serious roles. He tried to get a secondary franchise, that didn't work. He tried to get serious roles, it didn't work. Andrew Garfield, I think, somehow benefited from being in the worst Spider-Man movies, that somehow he continued to have a career as a launch pad off of Spider-Man, but also partially due to the fact that he already looked 40 and he doesn't look like a child. And there was something about Tobey Maguire. No one was going to give him another role.
Part of the
Tom Holland problem is Tom Holland's Tobey.
Andrew Garfield's a pretty good actor, but he was in the really crappy movies. So when he was in other movies, people were like, "Oh, he's way better than those shitty Spider-Man movies."
Yeah, you know what?
But Tom Holland is in the good Spider-Man movies. But then he's in anything else, and he's a shitty actor, and people are like, "Oh, he was just good when he was a CGI cartoon twink."
That's true. Crying and being a CGI cartoon twink that does backflips is endearing. Also, people are just endeared to the Spider-Man character, and then all of a sudden you try to see Tom Holland as not fucking Spider-Man, and he's not that good of an actor that he can merge. Because I do feel like Andrew Garfield, I'll watch him and shit and not think of him as Spider-Man guy. I think of him as Andrew Garfield.
Dude,
Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland, either of them in any movie, I think of him as Spider-Man guy.
Any scene that Andrew Garfield's not in the Spider-Man suit, there's never a second of the Amazing Spider-Man movies where you see Andrew Garfield and you're like, "Oh yeah, that's Peter Parker." He's cool, kind of cool, kind of awkward skateboard man.
Well, it's because those Amazing Spider-Man movies are shitty rom-coms like teen romance movies, like that Nerve movie with Dave Franco. It's like those, but with Spider-Man scenes in the middle, where the other movies were like Spider-Man movies. When you're like, okay, in 1 minute your perks of being a wallflower, then the plot starts happening again, you know? I guess there might be more of a disconnect there. I don't know how he did it, but I think he kind of passed the curse. And it's like Star Wars with so many of those actors, and I guess just big roles in general, because we saw the trailer for that new Ethan Coen movie with Chris Evans, and I'm like, sorry, sorry Human Torch, sorry Captain America, you're bulky superhero, generic looking ripped white guy, Chris Evans, and you'll never be anything more in my eyes. I don't care if Chris Evans brought out the best fucking performance of all time. It could be genuinely Oscar worthy.
Can't believe Ethan Coen.
Objectively the best acting of all time. I'd be like, okay, you fucking man meat, get the fuck out of here.
I can't believe Ethan Coen and his fake lesbian wife are making another weird lesbian fetish movie this year. I guess we really know who carried the Coen brothers. The Coen brother and the good Coen and his brother.
Didn't Joel make the Macbeth movie and then retire? And
no, he just does like fucking plays.
Well, they each did he did that solo Macbeth movie and then he retired forever, and now Ethan just makes shitty, weird, like
lesbian
rip-off
porn with his...
But like rip-off Coen brother movies, too.
Yeah.
He like rips himself off.
They're not even good rip-offs, like... The El Royale wasn't great, but it's a much better Coen Brothers ripoff than the Coen brother making his own
El
rip-offs.
Royale, which is just Quentin Tarantino meets the Coen Brothers. And that's kind of the vibe I was... Before I realized that was an Ethan Coen movie, I was watching that trailer, I was like, it's giving some serious El Royale vibes.
I was thinking the same thing up until the name Ethan Coen came up. I'm like, oh, someone's making like a Coen brother ripoff, and then I saw Margaret Qualley, and I was like, the gears started turning in my brain, and I was like,
but
Ethan
I feel
Cohen's
like
fake lesbian wife jerks off to Margaret Qualley, and the old rusty gears were like, oh, Driveway Dolls 2, this is what we're doing.
I forgot about Driveway Dolls until I saw that trailer, and then I couldn't remember it well enough to know if it was Margot Qualley or like Sydney Sweeney in that movie. I couldn't remember. One of them. I feel like Zendaya has to come to one of these Wes Anderson movies. Who else is on my... Probably going to be in a Wes Anderson movie soon.
Quite a few of the Marvel actors are shuffling out.
Shuffling in and out. I think you could get the...
What's
his name? Eternals guy who got the Indian guy who got the steroid use, and everyone made fun of him until he cried.
He would be a good pick. I think you could probably...
I could see him being like a hotel concierge or something.
Robert Downey Jr. would probably do it for the gimmick.
Well, it's on the bucket list, you know. Like he's like, I gotta do it for my career. You know, it's not not for the money or really for the career objective, but just to like check off. Like, okay, I was in the Christopher Nolan, I was in the Wes Anderson.
Bradley Cooper.
I was in the big list
squeeze
of
in there somewhere.
I don't see Bradley Cooper, but I could see them pulling Lady Gaga. Speaking of Bradley Cooper,
yeah.
I just feel like Lady Gaga's got that weird kind of face, and that would be kind of a gimmick. Like, it's not about acting ability, really, because Michael Cera's not a great actor.
Paul Rudd, you can stick Paul Rudd in one of these movies. I don't know if Paul Rudd would fit, but he could be there. Definitely not Jeremy Renner. Jeremy Renner's fucking weird.
Maybe Tom Cruise, now that he's retiring from Mission Impossible, will start knocking off. I worked with Stanley Kubrick. I worked with Wes Anderson, you know. I showed up for 3 minutes and whatever, Fun Times at Donkey Town or whatever his next movie's gonna be called.
The Doo-Doo Express.
The Doo-Doo Express to Donkey Town or something like that. And Scarlett Johansson will be like, I'm the Mavis of Donkey Town. And like, Army Hammer could be a stunt casting.
Yeah.
Army Hammer's eating donkey meat in the corner. Bill Cosby. He doesn't even know what's going on. He's 90 and he's in the corner. They just wheel him in. He goes, hey. I didn't date rape anybody. He gets really intense and mad. he has like Alzheimer's and dementia, so he's like, "Do you want a pudding pop?" Harvey Weinstein. Well, we're getting criminals. Kevin Spacey.
Dude. Yeah, Marilyn Manson. Kanye West.
Yeah. You can get AI. We were talking a lot about like AIs and deep fakes. You can get Jeffrey Epstein in there as AI.
Oh yeah.
It'd be a hell of a movie. Oh, Sebastian Stan. He did that Trump movie. He's been kind of trying.
Well,
to
he was
go
also just
more.
in the. He was in the fucking Elephant Man movie too.
Elephant Man.
Yeah, he was in a movie. Better Man? No, that's the monkey one. He was in the other one that had man in the title. Different Man? Where he plays a guy who's like the Elephant Man and he gets plastic surgery to be attractive. And then he's like, maybe being attractive wasn't so good because it made me mean to my friends.
Yeah, I don't know what his deal is with like big makeup roles where he's like... I think he's trying to do like... He's kind of like in that like Christian Bale circle like... Before he was Christian, like as he started like his side projects, so he's like, I gotta go crazy because I don't just want to be known as Batman, so put me in a fucking fat suit and I'm playing Al Gore, you know? And I think Sebastian Stan has kind of hit that point of his career where he wants to kind of hit that like Christian Bale lane where he's like, okay, yeah, sure, I have elephantitis or whatever, and I have leprosy, I'm Donald Trump, now I'm Hillary Clinton.
Oh man, if Sebastian Stan made a Hillary Clinton movie, that'd be fucking key now.